for the homeowner doing some basic electrical or remodeling, just some general information to know with wires being run through the wall. There needs to be nail plates so that when the drywall's put up, a nail couldn't go in through the wire. And then the same thing, whether it be like coaxial cable for TV, nail plates anywhere, that sort of thing is going through the wall. There are specific different tools for putting the ends on coaxial cable. So you've got these specialty tools and crimps. And then it's good to have some type of device to check for an electrical current other than making sure that you've turned off the power to the wires that you're working on at the breaker box. There's different size boxes. So this is like a single gang box for one receptacle, and then you got a double gang box to be able to put two receptacles side by side. And I thought I would just make some other helpful pointers. There's different size wire nuts, so depending on how many wires are being combined, if you were doing a 4 or more wires or so, something bigger like that versus a couple of smaller wires. And then there's these specialty grounding wire nuts that have the hole. And that confuses a lot of people, but let's just say in this instance, coming into this double receptacle, there are 3 wires coming in. So there's a wire coming along the wall here, comes up to feed this box. This is also going to send power up to a TV electrical source there, and then this wire also continues and goes to another wall over there. So there's 3 wires coming in. In this instance, I needed to use 2 ground wires. So if you think there were 3 wires spun together, and then there's 3, I left 2 long ends that can now be turned directly into the ground connections at the device. And then see that little crimp in there? That was this style ground crimp to connect those. If there was just going to be 1 wire needed, say in a single gang box, then this is another instance. There's 3 wires, they'd be spun together and then clip these parts off. And then this wire nut would slide right onto the end of there, and it goes all the way down. Those ends right there will be clipped off, and then this will be spun on to tighten down. But I just left these a little bit longer to illustrate that it was actually 3 wires. Those would be clipped off, and then that wire nut tightens down and serves the same purpose as that crimp. And then since this is a double outlet, I have this set up so that there's jumper wires that would go repeat the process for the second receptacle to be there. So in this case, pigtails were used. All 3 wires that are along in this wire circuit were put together, and then the individual black wire to be the power source to come off to one receptacle was done. Same thing, 3 white wires were twisted together for the circuit to make the best continuity, and then there's a pigtail coming off that will join here. And I mentioned this in another video, if you're not wiring your whole circuit together this way and making the contact, you would just be plugging the wires into, say, the back of here, and the whole continuity of all the rest of the electrical devices would be running through a different material. So this little piece of brass right here would be the connection in the circuit, and if anything ever happened to this receptacle, you would lose all the other power downstream of this. Plus, look at the thickness of the copper wire compared to that little piece of brass. And if you ever wanted to know what that little piece of brass is for, it can be snapped out. In this case, see how there's one on that side that power piece can be snapped out, so that if you wanted to run a single wire to here and make it a switched wall outlet or something along those lines, you could. That's just a general overview of some things that you'd need to know about, and understanding the thickness of the wires. In this case, this is 14 2-wire, meaning it has 2 insulated conducting wires and 1 bare copper wire for ground. And this would be a 14 3-wire, so you've got 3 conductive wires that are insulated and 1 ground bare wire there. I hope that helps for an overview.